because I actually got insider information. I actually got insider information straight from Homeland Security itself. You know what the new policy is? And okay, this is from inside the admin. You want to talk about our guys in the admin? This is from people in the admin. Going forward, the mass deportations, they are actually officially over. Going forward, the only people that will be deported, this is straight from Homeland Security, are people with a prior criminal record. People with DUIs, people that committed violent crimes, that's it. And actually, the Trump administration struck a deal with the state of New York and the state of New Jersey that they're only going to deport people from prisons. You know how that works? Somebody commits a murder. They get arrested by the police. They go to jail. When they get booked at prison, the state determines they're illegal. They don't have citizenship. It is only at that point that ICE is called and that person is removed. No more patrols, no more raids, no more do you speak English, no more where's your proof of citizenship. All of that is done now. That's over. Mass deportations, it's not just over in terms of the messaging from the campaigns, it's over as a policy. And it is March, okay, take the date. It is March 11th, 2026. How long did that take? It took a year and a month. A year and a month for us to shut it down. You know the rolling daily average for the past 7 days? I got this from the source. It's 900 apprehensions per day. 900 apprehensions per day. That's the rolling average for the week. So that's going to be fewer than 350,000 for the year. So we had 230,000 last year. Mass deportations are already over. We're going to get fewer than 350,000 this year. We're at the midway point, let's say, by 2027, and you don't even have 500,000 people removed from the country in the whole second term. It's already done. And I don't know what else to say other than I told you so. I told you this is what would happen because obviously it's so clear to me. It really wasn't obvious because everybody really thought it would happen. They were clearly delusional. They drank the Kool-Aid. They engaged in magical thinking. They didn't think it through. They didn't follow it to its logical conclusion. And so they voted for something that they didn't understand. And now they're just getting screwed. We're getting everything we don't want and nothing that we actually want.
DHS claims from January 2025 till now that about 650,000 people have been deported. So nobody believes this number, and rightfully so, because we've lost trust in this administration with being transparent with the public. They stopped reporting daily deportations, and if you've been on Twitter, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Do you remember at the beginning of last year when their official Twitter account, remember they were posting their daily deportation numbers and everybody was like, yeah, we're doing this. This is what we voted for. Randomly, they just stopped out of nowhere. And if you search on Google and you're trying to investigate the accurate numbers, you'll notice that the DHS has been their lips shut. They're not even transparent no more. They're not even reporting daily, weekly, nothing. Nobody knows the accurate 100% number. It's closer to what Nick is saying.
As far as I'm concerned, the immigration issue is over. I know that's controversial. I know you don't like to hear that. And I know what people are going to say. But as far as I'm concerned, it's a dead issue. Maybe there was a time when we could have stopped it. Maybe there was a time when we could have built a wall and deported everybody, but that time has surely passed. And Trump blew it. Trump blew it both times. We had a chance if they got it together in 2016, they could have built the wall. They could have deported a bunch of people. They didn't. We had our one last chance. We had one last shake in 24. He got elected in the popular vote. For whatever reason, it's cultural, it's the pendulum, whatever you want to say. He got back in even with Hispanics. And he made it a poisonous issue. And now I don't know that it's ever going to go back in the other direction. I don't know that that'll ever happen. And even if it does, it's almost too late. It's almost too late. The damage has been done. It's set in. And now we have to change how we think about the issue. That old America, heritage America, sorry, it is dead. I know people don't like to hear that. America's not going to be a Norman Rockwell painting. We're not going to be a republic, not an empire. It's done. It's done, and we lost. Okay, you had 30 years to get your act together between Pat Buchanan and Donald Trump and Ann Coulter and all these different nativist groups, and it just never materialized. And I think that's finished. And I think that now what we're playing for is to regain control over our empire, to try to improve the quality of life within the empire, to try to ameliorate the worst effects of diversity. Honestly, I think it's time for a little dose of reality, because at this point, I'm gonna say something else you're not gonna like. Immigration is becoming one of these issues that is used almost exclusively just to trick white people. It is the MacGuffin. It is this thing that we are always chasing, always trying to get, always elusive. We're ignoring everything else in pursuit of this thing that we're just never going to get. And so, for example, Trump brought with him in this administration all these corporate raiders and cronies and plutocrats. He brought with him all the oligarchs and the Zionists and Jared Kushner and wars for Israel and digital currency and Palantir coming in on the heels of Doge. All these different things, they're so bad. It's like we're going to not have privacy. We're not going to have a Fourth Amendment. The military is banning Anthropic because they want to militarize ChatGPT. We're at war with Iran. You got this big, beautiful bill, which is a monstrosity. We're moving towards digital currency. Tether is in the White House. You got the shit coins being sold by the Trump family. So many horrible things have been unleashed, and all of you white nativists are willing to take it all, swallow it all, because you say, well, as long as we're doing something about immigration. And you go, are we doing anything about immigration? What are we doing about immigration? Is it really worth it? They go, well, anything is going to help. No, I don't think it is. I mean, at a certain point, you have diminishing returns. You have a concept of marginal utility. If you got 50 million illegals, no, I'm sorry, deporting 400,000 doesn't do a damn thing. We have 30, 40 million illegals. We're bringing in millions of legal immigrants. What we're playing for is to remove 300,000 people per year. That we're going to kill everything else on that basis. War with Iran, big beautiful bill, no restrictions on AI. All of that for 200,000 deportations. And you're seriously going to tell yourself every little bit counts? That's delusional. That's totally insane.
Pretty insane to think that under the Biden administration, there was more deportations. I agree with Nick Fuentes 100% that mass deportations is over and that Trump did fumble it. That was a big campaign promise. Mass deportation just appears to be a topic swept under the rug. Everybody's focused on Epstein files and the Iran war. I am curious to see how the rest of the presidency turns out when it comes to mass deportations, but we'll see.
And anybody that made excuses for this, they just need to feel bad. You need to feel bad about yourself. Fuck you. You are stupid. I'm sorry to be so negative, but it is hard to overstate what a toxic influence, toxic influence these influencers have been on the right-wing electorate. Because you really are a psychic victim. If you were on Twitter following Jack Posobiec and Andrew Isker and Andrew Torba and Captive Dreamer and John Doyle, and these people were filling your head with this propaganda. Oh, when Trump says he has no plan to deport anybody other than violent criminals, he just has to say that because it's the general. That's a throwaway comment. Like, those people were telling you to stand down. They were gaslighting you. And they told you, well, if we run into problems, we'll deal with that later. And even through to February when we were pulling out of Minneapolis, they were saying, no, there's no retreat in Minneapolis. What are you talking about? It's going really well. It's hard to overstate the damage that is being done by these people. And that is why they have to be brutally humiliated and mocked and shown that they are frauds, shown that they are wrong. You cannot listen to these people. We tried it your way. Didn't work. You got what you wanted. You got everything you wanted. The Republicans won the House, Senate, White House. Trump got the popular vote, won the Electoral College, actually expanded on his victory from 16 by winning Nevada. You got everything you wanted. What is the fucking excuse now? You got $200 billion in the big, beautiful bill for mass deportations. Because remember, that was the excuse. They said, well, we don't have the personnel. We don't have the infrastructure. We can't just deport everybody. It's only been a day. It's only been a week. It's only been a month. It's only been 6 months. Well, you know, our guys are pushing really hard. They don't have the tools necessary. Well, okay, well, you got $200 billion. We cut Medicaid because that's a political winner. Let's cut healthcare for poor people to pay for the Gestapo. You got $200 billion for mass deportations. You hired 10,000 ICE agents. You're rapidly expanding the detention facilities, and then you just gave up. So, like, what's the excuse now? It's so bad. And it was so preventable. And I told you. And you want to know how I knew? Because it happened already. It already happened. All of this happened in the first term. And many of you just weren't there. Many of you just got red-pilled after the pandemic, got red-pilled later. So you didn't live it. I lived it. I was 18 when Trump got elected the first time. And I was like all of you. All the shit they're saying now, I was saying then. The difference is Trump was an unknown quantity then. It was the first time. It was unprecedented. So I remember back in 2017, I was one of these people. We got to vote for Trump. If Hillary gets in, it's World War III and blah, blah. Okay, that was me. We got to vote for Trump. He's going to save Western civilization. He's the God Emperor of mankind. And then when the rubber met the road in 17 and 18, I was making excuses. Well, we need to pass the tax cuts so we win the midterms, and then we'll get the money for the border wall. And, oh, you know, Trump is trying, but he's getting bad advice. It's bad personnel. It's Republicans in the House and Senate. We did all of it. We watched this movie. It happened exactly the same way, to a letter. And then we watched the whole thing fall apart. We were coping until the very last day. Here's how we could still turn it around. Here's how we could still salvage it. And then we watched with some curiosity in the interregnum to see if Trump would fix some of those flaws. If he was punished, he was going to come back harder and more intense and, you know, knowing how Washington works with the right people. And it was obvious that he had not changed fundamentally.
You could tell Nick has huge contentment, huge problem. He's out for revenge against the MAGA Republican Party. Rightfully so. A lot of these people are trying to ruin him, trying to take him out. He does have beef with a lot of them as well. I agree with Nick right here. Although there are radical people from both sides, you got to admit that. Let's be honest. I'm just surprised that these MAGA influencers don't think they look cringe, because a lot of times they do. I'm not like one of these radical people. If you like who you like, if you want to vote for who you vote for, I'm not going to insult you. I'm not going to be one of these crazy people, harass you, insult you. None of that stuff. Pretty objective that a lot of MAGA influencers that Trump can do no wrong. They're unable to criticize him. They do come off as cringe. And I don't think they're aware that they do come off as cringe. But I do agree with Nick with a lot of he's saying right here. He's kind of cooking.
And if we don't go more radical, we never win. If we don't get more radical, if there isn't at any point a radical intervention, then we never win. If you keep settling for lesser of two evils, you never get good. You never get a victory. You know, it's like you just keep dividing in half. Okay, we're not going to get that bad. We're not going to get that bad. If you keep voting that every single time, look at where it is. Look at what it has profited us. Where do we wind up with all this stuff? There's never a space for something that's truly good, something we're actually excited about, something that's actually going to deliver real change. Now we get a White House with Condoleezza Rice, who was there the other day, Chris LaCivita, who's trying to destroy Thomas Massie, Marco Rubio, who's the Secretary of State, Jared Kushner, who's back in the White House. And you say Trump is just the new neocons. He's just the neocon. So we need actually to open up a space. That's actually the first step. First, we need to create a need. We need to create a demand, open up a space, open up a vacuum, and create the conditions for it to be filled, instead of voting for Trump, knowing what he is and hoping for the best. Voting for Trump, knowing he's going to deliver all of this garbage and simply wishing it were better, wishing it weren't so, wishing it was somehow a better option than it actually is. That's not going to get us to what we want, ever. So I don't know what the counter argument is. If MAGA means war with Iran, then MAGA is dead. If 90% of MAGA voters are in favor of a war with Iran, then MAGA means nothing. It has betrayed its most fundamental principles, and it is dead, and it is not worth the hats that it's imprinted on. And I'm out. And the young people need something new, something that will start up, something that is new, something with more energy, that is dynamic, offering new ideas, a new perspective for a new decade. Maybe new leadership, maybe younger people, a guy that isn't 100 years old. But, you know, and here's the thing, this is the last thing I'll say about it. A lot of people are rocking with my criticisms. They agree with me, but they're not keen on voting Democrat this time. They're not keen on withholding their vote. You can't get one without the other. These things are all connected. They're all connected. You can't divorce the inputs from the outputs, the causes from the effects. You voted for Trump. This is the direct consequence. Nothing happened in the middle. What are you going to blame it on? Bad advisors, bad advice, bad personnel, the Biden economy, Biden fucked up the government, circumstances, Netanyahu did this. Like, you voted for it. This is what we got. Didn't work. You want something new, you got to play hardball. You got to try something new. You have to do the unthinkable. Trump does the unthinkable every day. The Jews do the unthinkable every day. We need to do the unthinkable. We need to keep our options open. We need to be open-minded. I'm happy to vote for a Democrat for no reason other than they're going to drop the hammer on the fucking people that did this to us, because it's as simple as that for me. You were voted in to stop this war and deport the illegals. You're doing neither. Now I want you to suffer. I want you to pay a price. And that price is very direct. I want you impeached. I want you investigated. I want you thrown out. I want you to lose your seat. I want your life to be very difficult. And I don't want you to have a political future because you fucked us. And people say, well, you're going to fuck yourself too. Well, we're already being fucked either way. So what difference does it make? You can't vote Democrat. Don't cut your nose to spite your face. We're being cut in the face every day. We're at war with Iran. There's no mass deportations. They want to legalize transgender surgeries for kids if the parents sign a form. How much more spited can we be? Our face is being spited every day. It's just now you get a share of it. You get a share of that. And hopefully, and that's just for the midterms. I wouldn't vote for a Democrat in 28, maybe. But for the midterms, I want Democrats to come into the House to get oversight power to hurt this administration, and that's it. You know, you don't need to be a pro-woke, tranny, illegal nigger or whatever to refugee to vote Democrat. You just need to vote for them to get oversight powers so they will clobber the Republicans to open up a space in 28. That's what has to be done. And if you will not do that, then you're not listening to me and you're not being rational, okay? I'm losing my patience with you people because I told you in 24, I predicted all of it. I said, you can't vote. And people still to this day, like, they admit that I'm right, but they're like, okay, but voting Democrat, that's too far this time. It's like, we have to do this. We have to do it just this once. We can vote Republican in 28. We can keep our options open, but for 26, we must give oversight powers. The House of Representatives is the people's chamber. The people, you are the one that insisted it's a binary. Well, I hate the Republicans now, so I'm voting for the other option.
So I see your perspective. I really do. If MAGA equals war of Iran, then MAGA is dead. I think a lot of people do agree with that. Surprisingly, on Twitter, there is still a lot of MAGA people still supporting this war Trump can do no wrong, and they're perfectly fine with this war of Iran. I'm personally not. I don't want boots on the ground. I don't want to see any American lives lost, especially if we have no business in the Middle East. Iran was not a big threat to the United States. People may disagree with me on that, but I'm really curious about your take. Let me know, do you agree with Nick? Are you willing to vote Democrat to spite the Republicans? Do you think Nick is cooking? Do you think he's talking crazy? If you don't mind, go ahead and give a subscribe and like, help with the algorithm. With that being said, I'm out of here. Peace.